That close, everybody. That close from going to the World Series. That close. Just a couple of things missing. Just a couple of things. And in the eighth inning, with a two on and one or zero outs, I had to be one out. And those strikeouts, talk about killers. There we go. A little better. Oh, we have the team to make it. Just a couple of pieces missing. We need to keep Cal, Raul, Polanco, all of them, except for a couple that are bottom of the order that were not performing. Who wants a guy who can't hit in the playoffs? He what 2 for 27 or something like that? I could be wrong, but it's like you have two on one. I think it was one out in game six. No, game five. Maybe it was game six. And you hit a batter who cannot hit. And then you got the grand slam. So when you hit this bottom of the order, I know how it's like the faith, your top three, or you're like your boom, these are my cream of the crop. The next three, so you're looking at 4, 5, and 6. These are my okay guys. They can get the job done. And then you get the bottom three, and they're like, this is all I got. And you try to do what you can with the bottom three. Now, what if you had an even more stacked offense? I mean, let alone our pitching is phenomenal. Just need a few more pieces of that puzzle. As I think it was 7 people in the bullpen, and you can rely on 3 of them to do the job needed. Need to get a couple more pieces into that one. And maybe another top 5 starting pitcher. Hey, Paul Skeens. He is in his 3rd year of arbitration, so he's still team controlled for a couple more years. But the Pirates are looking at unloading him, quite possibly. If I read right, Seattle, you only spent less than 50% of a really good total payroll. Bump that up just a little bit. Go out there and see if Paul Skeens will come to Seattle. I'm sure he looks really good in teal blue. And see what you guys can come up with. And I'm going to see if I can get a hold of the GM with Seattle as well. Just, they act like they're really super tight. I don't think Seattle is as tight as they really look. I know they're trying to make money and close in the gaps and be more of a middle style team that can make the playoffs. Because that's what they were when all the playoffs started. They were a middle of the spending. And the Pirates and the Athletics are the top 2 worst teams for spending money on their players. But what if we could take a 1st-round pick for this coming baseball season, so June, a 2nd-round pick, and say $500,000? Might be a good way to get Skeens over to our area. Because could you imagine having Wu, Gilbert, Skeens, as your number 1, 2, 3? That's just looking like the Braves from late 80s, early 90s. Come on. Glavine, Smoltz. And then I was like, you're going to have a perfect 1, 2, 3 punch knockout. of guys who can just fire that ball, and you guys could probably win closer to 97 to 100 games. Just one moment. Sorry about that. I had to flip dinner. Thank you, Wyatt. He's supposed to be doing his homework. So, probably put a pretty good deal for Paul Skeens. Now, Pete Alonso is getting 26 million this last year, and with an option for 26 million for 2026. We could take him and set him up instead of second base, put him as a DH. He plays second and short or second outfield, something like that. But we could take him and we could actually alternate even with second base in him or another position that he plays, so that way those persons may have a day off or be a DH for a game or something like that. And it wouldn't be a bad idea. I'd say if he could. Now we have Ford, who's reasonable, and okay, there we go. So that's another thing, is that we could probably make a pretty good trade for some people in the farm system. Maybe a couple people that have brought up that actually had a decent year with a chance of more play time to propel, or even the Mets might even use them as more trade bait. Who knows? But gonna have to give something up for $26 million. And say if we have a second round pick, somewhere in the top 3 of picks, maybe some good players, and probably some cash kickback. But when let's say Pete Alonso, we agreed to that $26 million on his contract, so the Mets don't have to eat it. Let's go in and defer $6 million of it. So you're paying 20, and then that $6 million, put it in the bank, make interest off of it, and everything else. How businesses make money. And when he retires, pay him out $1 million a year. Paul Skeens, when if his arm is still really rocking when he becomes a free agent in a couple of years, do the same thing. Offer him gosh dang. Hi, Jocelyn.
Hey, can I stop reading?
Fine, go watch a movie, but keep the TV low, okay?
Okay. What are you doing?
A vid. But probably, I'm gonna say probably about a 4-year, $100 million. Make to where nobody else is gonna want him for the early the contract. and maybe have some deferment money in there, so that way when he goes into retirement, that he has money coming back to him too. And that whole time you're making money off of his money, you know. And for the bullpen, we need some nasties. I mean, I don't mean just like an exploding slider and a cutter that can cut air upon passing through it. It's so hard. We want someone that is 6'3", 6'4", the side, the hand that can cover an average person's face just by putting it on there. We're like an Andre the Giant style hand. I mean, just massive. You just take that ball and just, that can throw hard, but has some of the nastiest stuff you can see out of a pitcher. And he knows the command of all his pitches. That doesn't need a lot of extra work to get him where he needs to go. I mean, it might be someone that is in the farm system, which I'm not seeing much of that. I mean, they might find something if they can find something really good in the draft or trade for someone that's like that. The Yankees had, like David Wells, and that guy, he was nasty. We need someone like a combination that can throw as hard as Johnson, paint like Smoltz on the corners, with the delicacy of being able to throw anything at any spot like the professor. I mean, because you go back in the day, you see Maddox, man, it's just dots. Every pitch set up for the next pitch. He'd give you confidence and then in the preseason and shut you down in the main season. That's what we need. Someone that when they call your name and they'll put opposition goes, oh crap. Hey, someone that can, throw that 100-mile-an-hour plus fastball, but knows how to throw a palm ball that dances in the wind, especially if there's just a little bit of wind coming in. And most stadiums have wind coming into them. And make that ball dance. So, I mean, really, you can really mess with the batters that way. But those are my 3 takes. It's just small piece of the puzzle. People that have some sort of possibly playoff experience, maybe just regular, really good baseball where they go out and now the season's done. They're out in Japan or Puerto Rico or playing some other fall ball leagues and improving their stuff. And I mean, Pete Alonso had 36 home runs this last year. Could you imagine having another 36 home runs as a DH? Where our main DH hit like 12 or 13? Put Alonso right in like number 5, number 6 position, where you could have Julio or Cal on and stuff. Get another Pete Armstrong. I mean, that guy's fast. Ohtani's pretty good in speed. I mean, somewhere in that mix, someone who can steal bases. I'm not asking for another Ricky Henderson, but someone that can just sit there and just, you know what? I'm going to steal this base. I'm just going to take it. But being such a threat on the base pad that makes the pitcher nervous. Every time he gets on, that pitcher is nervous. So, just something like that. So that's kind of my take of how we could improve for the next season. I know there's gonna be a lot of finessing going on. We are happy that we made it to the ALCS. Game 7 was tight, but again, that close to the World Series and taking on the Dodgers. Seattle, I had you in my MLB game to win the ALCS. Okay, so I'm gonna get a crappy card instead of a really, really good card, and that's just how the cookie crumbles, I guess. Anyway, you guys have any ideas? Maybe better ways to improve the team and everything else? Shoot me a message. Maybe we can take different ideas about how things go and have conversations going back and forth. Anyway, ta-ta.